Hope bigger than a hell ring, moves like you heard on the decks. Glover hold the court and give the chief no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. How you doing, man?
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out. We fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
That's right.
We got more than we can use. We got more than we can handle ourselves. We try to let it flow. Let it flow to the next person.
Yeah. We're proud of you, man.
Thank you.
And we're proud of your son.
Thank you.
You're watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Business six hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse, dropping wisdom like Hover. Each word a joke. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to days. Donnie the narrator, truth runs in veins. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. 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 First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, entered to win it for the long haul, baby. Got a special show for you today. Let me bring in my shotgun, Marsha Jews. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. What's happening with you?
Still standing. Trying to keep up with everything. Life is moving fast around here. Got a whole bunch of folks getting ready to do stuff and changing up. How's everything going with you?
Is it true you're running for office?
I've been talking about it, but I don't know. We'll see. We're going to pray on it.
Well,
what do you think about it?
That doesn't sound like somebody running for office. Do you really want to do that?
I'm really getting serious about it. There's been just so much that's happening, and I just want to see something different in our city. I'd like to add to that.
All right, well, we got a couple of guests today. Jay McElroy, are you there? How are you, Jay?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Jay McElroy, and I am representing Gov Marketing Hub today. We got a lot of good information for tons of folks out there that want to know what's going on in the procurement world.
Well, I didn't know it still existed since Orange Man got in there.
It may not exist so much in the federal government, but we're bringing good news from the commercial end where contracts are being awarded.
Okay, well, you have the floor. Tell us what you got.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so we do have a service that has been made available to all those across the U.S. as well as in the U.S. territories. It is called govmarketinghub.com. We are bringing forth a informational tool. It is going to be a blog like you've never seen before. We've had tons of folks to take a look at it, and they basically have told us that this is exactly what people need. It is informational driven. So if you want to know what is going on in the government space as well as commercial space, any opportunities that might be available, things where people can actually do networking, find partnerships, post their capabilities. We even have the ability for them, if they've lost people or if they're people who are unemployed, we have Job Marketing Hub, and they'll have the ability to post their resumes, and we do direct marketing to employers as well as recruiters. So I tell you, at this point in time, the blogs themselves are going to give folks the ability to put blogs out there. We will have a podcast as well. So we'll be bringing forth several people, various experts will allow businesses to spotlight their company. And then we will allow within the blogs you to have the physical ability to interact with other people. So if you find a blog and you have an interest, you can actually do what we call an instant call, which you will be able to literally have a phone call with that person pretty much right away. If you dial their number, they will be able to pick up and you'll be able to have that conversation. We also have what we call instant meeting, which is the same thing. You need to meet with someone pretty much right away, which is something that happens quite often. People don't always have the time to wait around for somebody to get back with them. So we have instant meeting. We also have the ability for folks to do online chat. So instead of it going across on your telephone, which a lot of procurement people don't like to disclose who they are, but they don't mind chatting with you. We do have a chat function available. We also have an internal email system available. We have a video conference. And then our big dog is where we can have the actual group discussion. So there are a lot of times we get opportunities that come in. We had one that came in from a very large company, a Fortune 500 company, where they were looking for 7 small businesses to come in and begin to start work with them on a contract with the government that was a multi-billion with a B dollar opportunity. So we want to make sure that folks can come together, be able to have those group discussions, flesh out anything that, of concerns that they might have. And so we are just excited about this new service. And I'm so glad that you have given us the opportunity to be able to come onto the show and just let people know that Gov Marketing Hub is there for them, as well as Job Marketing Hub.
And give us a success story before you go.
The success stories that we've had blogs that have been placed up, and there was one in particular that comes to mind. It was actually a construction job that came up, and a person, when you put things out like this, they don't believe that it's true. I don't know why, but people were just very skeptical. A gentleman was able to bid on something and win an opportunity. And they actually do business here in the Maryland area, and they actually won some business not very far from where they live.
How much?
I can't disclose the numbers, but it was masonry work, but thousands of dollars. But we've had success stories up into the billions.
Oh, we got to hear numbers. That's what gets us going.
The highest that awards that have come through our services previously has been over 100 million a year.
Now you got my ear.
I think on average, if you look probably at some of the lowest, you're probably going to be looking around 100,000, which is typically going to be awarded to people who are just getting their company started.
Yeah, I would think so. Now you can't get $1 million if you can't manage 100,000.
That's very true. Very true.
You can't get 100,000 if you can't manage 1,000.
There you go.
Any tips on money management?
We don't have any tips on the money management, but there was recently an actual session that was done by the USDA. They partnered with the IRS, and they did a full-blown tax and financial session for about an hour or so to help businesses be able to get started. So we do partner with a lot of the federal government agencies in order to be able to get the information out that folks need. And I'm saying this is recent, so this is post Biden. And we are excited that we still have some information that is flowing. I will have to be very honest with you. It is not flowing as quickly as we would like to see it come out. A lot of the opportunities in the federal government, for those that are out there, know that there is literally almost a standstill for opportunities for people to move forward. So what we have done, because we've been in the industry for so long, we have started working with the commercial organizations. And the trends that we're seeing right now is that they are giving mandates to find those businesses who have the skills that they need, that they can bring on to the contracts that they have. Now, I say this because one of the key things that people are sticklers on is how do they make their small business numbers when you look at like divisions like our departments like HHS, where they released every single small business representative. So how do they make their numbers? They're going to make their numbers by hiring commercial companies who will find those who meet the criteria. They love those who have multiple certifications because then they can get credit against those certifications. So as an example, if they awarded that company $1 million, they'll get $1 million credit towards 8A, $1 million towards woman-owned, $1 million towards veteran-owned, and whatever other certifications that they have. So the trend of what we've been seeing is that they're going to the largest, and the largest are going to help them to make their numbers. The other thing that we have kind of heard in the wind is that a lot of the procurements are now going to start moving towards the GSA schedule. I have not received any inside information on how that's going to happen, but every single person that I talk to that is doing business, as well as small businesses, are telling me that they're looking truly at kind of consolidating a lot of what they're doing to the GSA schedule.
No, I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, so what that means is,
I mean, we need some basic everyday
okay, so the basic information is if you move to the GSA schedule, right, you have to get yourself on a schedule. So if you are an IT organization, you would be on the IT schedule of 70. So what happens when procurements are done, the buyers are going to be responsible for hiring those that are on a schedule. And if you don't have a schedule, you won't be able to get any work. That's in a nutshell.
I still don't understand what being on a schedule is.
Okay, it's a contract vehicle. So if a person is a contracts officer and they have a requirement where they can award $1 million to a company, they have an opportunity to determine how that contract is awarded. They can award it, say, to a veteran, a woman-owned. They could do a service-disabled veteran, whatever it is that they decide. And that contract vehicle would be one of those. So we say an IT Schedule 70, right? So they're only going to look for people who have those schedules or have those economic classifications, as I mentioned earlier, 8A, woman-owned, service-disabled, hub zone. There are several out there. And then they have other contract vehicles as well, like FAA has EFAST. So you can use EFAST in order to be able to be awarded a contract. If you're not on EFAST, you won't even be considered for the contract. So as I said earlier, GSA is one who has multiple schedules. And I've been told they're going to look at having opportunities that come down, multi-million dollars, that can actually be awarded via a GSA schedule.
So you done lost people with your language because we got people still asking us, what is a schedule? But anyway,
okay.
Maybe I'm speaking another language.
Okay. Let me roll it back.
Another world.
Let me roll it back.
Okay. Kevin Sher, David Heiber, Dr. Heiber. Y'all know anything about this language, David?
I'm speaking elementary.
Elementary. Okay. So if you have to think about it like this is government contracting. So if you're not in the government contracting world, you may not understand. Okay. So I was trying to think of an example that might be basic. If somebody goes out to purchase they want to purchase a car. They want to purchase a car in the government. They only want to purchase it from a Black business owner. That person who is ready to purchase that car from the government would go to Maryland Department of Transportation, MBE directory, which is online.
Okay.
They would do a search,
Yes.
correct? They would find a Black business owner that can sell them a car.
Yes.
That is what they consider an MBE vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you have a GSA schedule, that is a vehicle. If you are a woman-owned business, that is a vehicle. Are we together now? I hope. Okay, perfect. Thank you, David, for the thumbs up. Okay, so basically what happens, the government as an organization is always going to have to meet specific socioeconomic goals. They have goals, 10%, 5%, whatever it happens to be for veteran-owned, woman-owned, or whatever it is that's out there, a hub zone, someone who has a business that's located in what they designate as a hub zone. That is considered a socioeconomic class. So in that case, that buyer would end up purchasing from someone who has one of those designations.
Okay, Jay, how can people reach you?
They can reach me by either calling me at 240-462-8890. And that's 240-462-8890. Or they can reach us via the contact us on govmarketinghub.com.
Good deal. Thank you for joining us today, Jay. You got to come back again.
I appreciate it. Sorry about the lingo.
Okay. Kevin Sherrod, how you been?
Hey, good morning, man. How are you?
We doing good, man. Dr. Heiber, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, good brother.
Kevin, what you plugging today?
What I'm plugging, I guess my new book, A Life for Life, Poor Choices and Unresolved Trauma is Killing America. It's a really important project.
The cover.
Say it again?
The cover. Where the book at?
Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties this morning.
Me
But
too.
so we don't have a cover. But the book can be found everywhere on Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, Simon and Schuster. Oh, my God.
Let's be more news.
Thank you, Doni. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Poor Choices and Unresolved Trauma is Killing America, A Life for Life. The book is doing really, really well. It's endorsed by the American Psychiatric Association, which was a big deal for me to get that endorsement. Their executive, new executive director is a brother that felt like the American Psychiatric Association really hadn't been doing a lot of work in Black communities across America. He's a brother, and he decided he wanted to support this book, support this project, and really start getting into the places that historically have been deprived of information around mental health, regardless of how you use it, but just being deprived of some really important information.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How's the book sales coming?
It's doing tremendous, man. We selling books all over the place. We're gearing up for the Baltimore Book Festival in a couple of weeks. We've had book signings all over the Baltimore. We've donated 200 books to school kids. We're going to donate 400 books on October 10th for World Mental Health Day at the Enoch Pratt Library downtown. So 400 Baltimore City school students will be there to talk about mental health during World Mental Health Day. Is a global observance of mental health. And one of the things we're going to do then is we're actually going to have a simulcast. So we're going to have a 40-foot television screen, Doni, up talking to kids all over the world, in Canada, in the UK, and possibly China, about the issues of mental health, showing kids in Baltimore that they're not alone. This is a global issue. It's a global conversation. And so just putting more information out there so people can better understand the issue and make some decisions for themselves.
Marsha, any questions?
Yeah, I'm having my screen is frozen. Can you hear me?
Loud and
Yes.
clear.
Okay,
You
great.
can smile. We can see you.
My screen is frozen. I don't know what's going on. But Kevin, this is really a powerful. This is it won't. My screen is frozen. It's probably the best thing ever happened. But Kevin, this book is very interesting. We have so many children who are going through psychological problems, and some of the programs that I've worked with Alvin Ailey, these young people don't have a space where they can get assistance. How do we take something like this with this book and to help our young people see not only themselves, but how they can grow within this and have their families help them within the school systems or churches or community organizations?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Marsha, and that's actually a lot of my motivation around this project. Over the last 10 years, I've as a writer, and this being my fourth book, I just learned that literature is so important, right? Especially in the Black community. It's the best way for us to disseminate, one of the best ways for us to disseminate good information about topics. So when it comes to the issue of this issue, kids love to read, kids love stories, and kids also love to see stories that they can relate to, right? So in the book, I talk about being a 16-year-old kid. I talk about the struggles of being exposed in environments where there is violence.
Yes.
I actually talk about being shot at for the first time at 16 years old in West Baltimore. I talk about losing friends. I also talk about getting into therapy, right?
Yes. Yes,
because
that's huge.
Unresolved trauma is an issue that we just haven't discussed in our communities, and I think people need to have that information. And also just being a storyteller. I know what the power of being a storyteller and the power of also opening up your own, for lack of a better word, exposing your own baggage, right? And then people can look at that and say, you know what? I've either experienced that myself. I know somebody experienced that, or I got a family member has experienced. I got a friend who's experienced, and so in that situation, and so they can relate. And so I'm just looking forward to just having an impact.
But this is really huge, Kevin, and I'm really happy to hear. Not happy, I guess, is not the word, but I'm grateful is really more of the word, for a link like this to be able to be distributed to different organizations, because a lot of these young people, having worked with young people with Alvin Ailey, I'll never forget this as long as I live. These were middle school children who are in between, and they're in many homes, there are negative things that are going on that they can't control.
Yeah.
But they need somebody to be able to bring something to those families to help them work out what needs to be done. This child, and now this little boy will be in my brain for the rest of my life. We were out at UMBC, and one of the things we were talking about is, getting your grades, what do you want to do in the future, all of this. And this young man said to us in this program, he said, "Miss Marsha, you always trying to make everybody happy. I don't even see myself living past 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's in my head for at least 15 years.
Yeah.
Kev, let me tell you what else is going on, Kev.
What did you say, Kevin?
Up there in Penn North, Kev. Let me just jump in for a second, Marsha. Okay. Kev, last week up in Penn North, now the streets say several people died. This fentanyl pandemic. We know they were hospitalized. What is the impact of bad dope mixed with antifreeze and a light response from the city of Baltimore?
First, bro, I can't say what I really want to say, right? Because whoever put antifreeze in heroin or whatever it was selling and put it on the street need to be taken somewhere and dealt with, right? Forget about the city of Baltimore. Whoever did that should be dealt with in a different way.
They was popping camps the next day at Penn.
You know my history, you know my background, you know those are the places that I actually came from. And one thing I can pride myself on is intent. You know, I never intended to hurt anyone, even though, of course, the disease of addiction, people are harmed. But to put antifreeze in some drugs, man, you're a terrible human being. And secondly, the response from the city, I can't speak on it totally because I don't know all the details. What I can say is that's just a horrific moment. And somebody in the community got to speak up, man. Like if we gonna keep waiting for the city, waiting for the government, waiting for the state, we never gonna get no resource. We gotta work on this ourselves. Somebody gotta pull those people to the side and say, you can't do that. That's not okay in our community. That's a terrible thing, man. So it's just a terrible thing. So many people. I'm still seeing people still sending me videos of people passing out, people laying on the floor or ground. Seems half unconscious. It's just a terrible thing. And now you got these videos floating around, and now you got more people. You know what, Doni? How do you say it? The curtain has been pulled back, right? Because you know, and I know this overdose thing has been going on for a long time. And now the curtain has been pulled back, not to this magnitude. I haven't seen this many people overdose on drugs at one time before. But the curtain has been pulled back on this terrible thing that's going on in our community. We come to the disease of addiction, right? And what needs to be done, and how our people are struggling and suffering. That's what I can say.
Let me bring David in. David, you with us?
Yeah, good morning, good brothers.
You know anything about this topic?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's right around Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is David Heiber, founder and chief visionary officer of Concentric Educational Solutions and founder and CEO of Redemption Social Solutions. So, and, you know, been in Baltimore now 26 years.
And what do you do? What's your area of expertise?
So education and social solutions. So education, Concentric has been around for 16 years. I started it in Baltimore. We do mental health, mentoring, tutoring, and our primary has been home visits. We're about 500,000 home visits in.
Any thoughts on the fentanyl drop that OD'd a bunch of people, and the streets say over a dozen people got DOA, dead on arrival, but
yeah.
The city isn't saying anything, saying there's no lethal. And do you believe that?
I mean, no. I think that there's a little more to it. To Kevin's point, it's something that we've known across, you know, for a long time. It happened right around the corner. I'm on Utah Place, and so it's right around the way. But this is unfortunately, it's something that's come to light, but it's been to light for those who know it. It's something that we've seen. If you drive around, if you pay attention, this is just more visible, but it's always there.
Should we have expected more out of Penn North, particularly in the year of the 10th commemoration of Freddie Gray?
Yeah, I think so, Kev. I mean, I would give it to my OG Kev about this, and you too, as well as Doni and Marsha. But it's something that we've seen. I mean, it's if you drive around, you see.
That's a polite way of calling us older than you.
No, it's just I'm part of the greatest frat, Kappa Alpha Psi, so we give deference deference is really big to me.
Did he say death threats?
Deference.
Oh, we got the cartel on here or what, Marsha?
Nah, deference. But no, it's sadly, this is what we see. And should we expect more? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, Dave, you got a book out, don't you?
Book just came out. A little bit different topic, but than Kevin's. But Kevin's book is a terrific, powerful read. It resonates, Kevin. Your book is. I've been meaning to tell you, man. It's very powerful. But yeah, Doni, our book just came out. I wrote a book with two other my co-authors, Michael Gary and Ivory Tolson. Ivory Tolson, I think, is our modern day Du Bois. He's a full professor at Howard University over psychology. And it's really about the journey of Concentric and what we've learned after 500,000 home visits. And it's a referendum. It's a call to action. Thanks, Doni. It's a call to action, how we can fundamentally change education, particularly urban education, in this day of age. And I think it's apropos based upon what we're experiencing now with Trump withholding withholding the federal funds. It's right on point.
Marsha?
I'll tell you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great.
You smile.
I'm trying. But, listening to all of this, it's kind of hard to smile. We have so many issues that are going on in our communities, from the lack of input from families that are going through their own issues and just trying to survive. I live over east, and I have so many neighbors who are knocking on my door and asking for help, or how can I help them, or where can they go, or what do they need? And we have a mayor, but maybe there needs to be some kind of community organization or some kind of something within the mayor's purview that can literally give service to people. People are hungry. They can't pay their bills. They can't get the lights on. I mean, we have so many issues, and I don't know how we all can come together and look at this broad issue and get resolution.
Doni, you mind if I weigh in?
Please.
Yeah, Marsha, to your point, one of the things that we've seen, if you show that cover again, Doni, what's interesting is our publisher asked me, my two co-authors are smiling, and you seem like that. It looks like I have a grit on my face, is what we call it. And they said, "Why don't you smile?" It's because I'm not. It's not that I'm not happy inside. Is I'm disappointed in what I've seen over the past 16 years across this country in general, but specifically all the home visits that we did. 500,000 across this country, particularly Black and brown and poor whites, and the information that we took in. The challenge, and this is why we're saying that, how do we put students / families at the center of what we do, is that there's so much, I almost cursed, there's so much bureaucracy in and around education that students are often forgotten. Even though students and families are talked about, students are forgotten. It's just not, that's just the case. Whether it's financial challenges, whether it's bureaucracy, whether it's unions, whatever the case may be, children are the first to be impacted, last to be heard. And we think that we hear them, but we don't. We don't hear them because we don't want to know authentically what they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. I mean, if you draw that line about the people who overdosed and what we see every single day, draw that line back to the home and see what students and families and children that they have. And so it's all connected. It's a public health issue. It's literally a public health issue. And everybody thinks that they are experts. There are no DAMN experts. Why? Because we're talking about the human condition. We're talking about people. Work for Kevin to get himself where he is now. May not work for David. May not work for Martha, right? Marsha, not work for Doni. How do you solve these challenges? Literally one door at a time. It's just a grassroots.
What solutions do you have, David?
Well, first is you got to start where students and families are, and that's in the community, in their homes. You have got to ask them authentically, what are the challenges that they're experiencing, and what are the solutions that they need.
Now, so let's put a pin in that right there.
Good.
Do we need to ask anybody what is needed at Penn North? It's a subway hub.
Yeah.
It's been taken over by addicts.
Mhm.
Doc Cheatham say 20 to 50% of the addicts are white. So a lot of these addicts that are in West Baltimore, that are in East Baltimore, are not even from Baltimore. They're from Harford County, Carroll County, Anne Arundel County, Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
They're coming here to buy dope. Yesterday, Kevin, a man said that what is Pennsylvania Avenue known for? I said, huh? He said, well, in New York, what is Broadway known for? I said, theater. Well, he said, what is Center Stage known for? Theater. He said, what is Pennsylvania Avenue known for? Dope. How do we change that perception? Senator Hayes just done 50 million on West North Avenue, but nobody has fixed Penn North. Loitering goes back to Freddie Gray and the consent decree. The cops took a knee when Marilyn Mosby charged the 6 cops. I could see her charging the 3 white cops. I didn't understand where the 3 black cops came from. But nonetheless, the thing went to trial. The 3 black officers went on trial. So black people who were looking at this situation through a racial lens never saw the white people who put the knee in Freddie Gray's back even called on the carpet. That's how twisted, demented, and psychologically debilitating Baltimore City is. Everybody mad at the white cops, but on television, the 3 black cops catch the brunt of the pain. Then we're here 10 years later.
Intentional.
Still ain't no damn supermarket on the avenue. The avenue market has never been rehabbed. We got money and resources coming in, and everybody's looking at each other like, what do I do?
Right.
So come on, you're the experts. How do we get open air market off of Penn North?
I think you one thing is resources. You talked about you got to dig deeper, man. Let's just keep it real about the disease of addiction, right? You got to get to the why, right? And a lot of people are struggling, and so that's for me. That was one of the important reasons for me to even go down 10 years of following this trail of putting together this book. Is the why? You're talking about the why, right? Why do people feel like, I'm gonna stand on the corner and purchase something that could kill me, kill me, right?
Yeah.
So you talk about state of mind, right? Why would a person go that far? Why would a person be willing to put themselves in that much danger, right? And when you get to the why, it's the pain that people are suffering. Like when you don't love yourself, you're going to do stuff that you're going to put yourself in danger. You're going to put yourself in dangerous situations, right? It's way
Can you imagine Can you imagine going to get a dope that then sent all these people to the hospital? You talking about, yeah,
Doni.
boy, I got get me some of that, man. Jim,
Doni.
man.
Donnie, I've been in that world, man.
Yeah.
It's the disease of addiction is an ugly thing. When it comes to heroin, it's ugly. And what we just pull back the curtain, right? Overdoses happen every day all across Baltimore. Like I said, not to this magnitude, not at one time, but we just pulled back the curtain and saw the ugliness of what's really going on in these streets. And so, and so again, why would a person be willing to put themselves in such a desperate situation? It's trauma, but it's also absolutely trauma, unresolved trauma, right? But it's also the disease of addiction, right? So to your point, when it comes to that issue, resources, that's one part. But the other part, Donnie, we got to take some responsibility for our actions, right? It's us. We want Pennsylvania Avenue back. So if we want Pennsylvania Avenue back, we got to tell the folks this has taken it over that we want it back, and we got to make our point make that point clear, right? There's so many problems over there that can be solved by us. And go ahead.
No, Kev, the question, here's the question that comes to mind with me, and when I'm talking to people, is that when you do a deeper dive into the why, the disease of addiction is absolutely there, and when you keep on pulling back the layers, the fundamental question is, to me, when I'm listening to people, is do we really? When I say we, it's kind of nebulous. Do we really want things fixed? Right? Because this ish has been happening for a long time. Right, like for a long time. Kev, you followed it for the past 10 years, right? Like you lived it and experienced it. We know what's happening. To your point, Donnie, if you drive down Pennsylvania Ave and Penn North and stuff like you've seen it forever, right? For a long time, not forever. Let me not speak in absolutes. The fundamental: do we really want it fixed? There are resources, absolutely, right? All the way down West Baltimore, right? West North. But do we want it fixed?
Do we really want the harbor fixed?
Yeah.
I grew up.
Do we really want Mondawmin fixed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I grew up in the West Baltimore area, Fayette, Mount Street. 25 years ago, that was an open air drug market, just like Pennsylvania Avenue, right? If you drive through there today, it's a ghost town. It's literally you might see one person or two people walking up the street. So to your point, Donnie, things can be done, but we got to also participate, man.
New York boys used to be scared to come down Monroe and Fayette.
No, they wasn't. They wasn't scared. They wasn't scared.
They knew they would go back home with some hot ones in them if they ain't come correct. They
were just as much a part of the problem as we were, right? But back to the point, right? That area is no longer what it used to be for a lot of reasons, and part of it is the community organizations in that area that decided was enough is enough, right? There are things that we can do that we can take control of, right? Of course, the city need to put more resources. The state need to put more resources. Even the federal government could put more resources. But it's also stuff that we can do. It's a reason why the four of us on this call are not standing on Pennsylvania North Avenue right now, right? Those are choices, right? So my point is there are things that we can do as a people to make a difference, and we got to step up to the plate, right? And if we can't sit around and wait for the government or wait for the city, wait for the state. It's obvious they're not coming. So what are we gonna do? And so I just wish, we could just have more conversations amongst us about fixing what we want to fix, because those people don't care. They don't care.
We need to bring back Black October.
Black October.
I always wonder what it is from a leadership standpoint that we're missing and that we need to do to change this. And it takes the leadership, that people who are running the city, and how do we bring those people together to talk the truth of what's necessary and what's needed in this city.
Part of my fear with Pennsylvania Avenue is that you close down that open air drug market.
It's just gonna move.
It's just gonna move.
It's just gonna move.
Open air drug market, and it's almost like you're playing a game of whack-a-mole, right? You're shutting down one place and shutting down one. Then it goes back to supply and demand. Fundamental philosophy of supply and demand, right? How do you lessen the demand, right? And those are the people that decide that I'm willing to risk my life. I'm willing to put my life on the line for to chase this substance. And so that's my fear, is that we can shut down Pennsylvania Avenue, but when you go back to demand, what are we doing about demand? And then you go back, and then from there you go back to the why. Why would somebody would be willing to put themselves in danger for this?
There's a level when you talk about as you're tracing the trajectory. There's a level of, to your point, Kevin, about the why. When you're in our thousands and hundreds of thousands of interviews, I'm talking about in-home, in-person interviews of students, there's a level of hopelessness. Right? There's a level, ingrained hopelessness in them. Right? And many of these young people, they turn into the middle age and the older addicts. So you just start tracing it back and just start peeling the layers back. There's a level of hopelessness. Yeah. I mean, in any given city, just so that people don't think that Baltimore is just this anomaly. In any given city, 50% of the Black kids are going to make it, quote unquote, make it. 50%. And we're talking about historically. Historically, 50% are going to make it. That means 50% aren't going to make it. And we're talking about from just post-integration, which I think messed up Black people. Integration messed up Black. We had no clue what to do with it, right? We asked for something, we had no clue what to do with it, right? And we thought it decimated the Black community. 50% of young people are going to make it. So what happens to the 50% that don't make it? What happens to the 50% that don't make it?
You know what happened to them. You go into the penitentiary, son.
You go in the penitentiary, right? They become.
Or you go into the graveyard. They got cremation. So France ain't got to pay 10,000 no more.
Yeah, 50%. So that's what I'm saying. To your point, Martha. When you really start talking about like leadership and whatever the case may be, right? Like, what's the number one job of a leader? The number one job for a leader, for the most part, because this is what people don't want to talk about, is they want to stay in leadership. That's what they want to do. They want to stay in leadership. They don't want to not be a leader. So that means you need people to follow you. Do you really want to empower people to do for themselves so that they don't need you as a leader no more? If we're really talking about the issue. So there's a void of leadership because leadership, unfortunately, in most people's eyes, is self-servient. You don't want to do what needs to be done. You want to get reelected.
I just want to know, how long is Mark Morial going to run the National Urban League? He's been there 20 years. And when are we going to have that conversation? And am I a bad guy for saying it? I just mean 20 years, same guy, the same seat. I can see that in Africa where you're dealing with political instability. But damn, in 20 years, you ain't groomed another leader, Marsha? Nobody?
But people don't want to take on the responsibility.
Dude, you've been there 20. Al Sharpton, nice guy. Nice guy. Mm-hmm. But damn, you never going to pass the ball. You literally are never going to pass the ball.
They don't want to pass the Donnie.
No. They got to pass the ball because we done seen that same hairstyle for 20 years.
Donnie, people don't want to pass the ball. Donnie, people don't want to pass the ball.
Here, damn.
I think the reality is that people want
stepped on the side. Pass the ball, Al.
But who's he grooming? Who's being groomed by these people?
I just told you.
I heard that. I said, but who's going to do the grooming? They're not going to do it.
I'm not wearing no process.
But somebody's got to sit down and create a circle of people to sit down and say, it's time for you to retire, and this is how we need to move on. He's got a whole board of directors. No, that's not going to change it.
These same Negroes going to stay in the same spot. Morgan State University. Some of them people been there a long damn time. They knew it was coming. They knew I was going to talk smack sooner or later.
The same, Donnie, the same, Kev, Marsha, the same thing, right? Like literally, whether I'm in Baltimore knocking on doors, wherever we are, Detroit, whatever the case may be, and you know that 50 to 55% aren't going to make it. And how the systems are done, and how the system is set up. From the previous guests about procurement and all that stuff. man, I've seen so many things. I know Kev, Donnie, I know Marsha, you have to. I've seen so much on this side. The fact of the matter is, I don't think, if we're talking about systems, educational systems don't want to get better.
Right.
Right. And I'm not talking about one omnipotent person pushing the button. The system is so dysfunctional historically and corrupt that it's not failing. Let's be clear. Systems are not failing. Systems are actually succeeding because they're getting the results that they're intended to get. The systems aren't failing, right? You have to have poor to have rich. You have to have poor to have rich.
You can't have one without the other. Is what you
can't have one without the other.
Mm-hmm. But
we've been talking about this over and over and over.
And
we've seen it.
It's a variation of the same thing. So there has to be somebody to take the leadership. So if we sit down, excuse me, we look at what we're doing from a city council, from then we go from city council to then state representatives to a national organization or somebody that's going down to DC on the Hill. How do we get those people? All of those people are in leadership and all of them are representing a community somewhere in this nation. How do we take over that particular thing?
It's the things. It's what we've what we've accomplished. Just encountered rather. I'm sorry. It's just when we're listening to people. This is why I was going back on the initial premise is that to what you were saying, Kevin, about someone's the why of addiction, right? When you really want to peel back things and if you can authentically hear someone's why, then the what is easy to understand. The what is happening is easy to understand when you peel back the layers and really get to the truth of the why. And then the question is, do you really want to hear the why? The fact of the matter is, very few people, I think, wake up and say, I want to be an addict. I don't want to be successful. I don't want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be homeless. I want to live check to check. I just want to be out here running these streets. There's an addiction of hopelessness that is generational, that goes across geography, and of marginalized people that continue to be marginalized. And when we talk about doing this, and we're tongue in cheek about it, similar to what the brother was talking about, is the fact of the matter is do you want to put yourself out of a job? So as a leader, do you want to put yourself out of a job? No, you don't want to put yourself out of a job. So you're gonna keep leading in the way where you need people to follow you.
But also you need to have board of directors who are going to make certain that they're part of the decision. Just because you have a leader, most of these organizations have a board of directors, but those boards of directors, those members of that board are not changing what that leader is supposed to be doing. You got a president or vice president of organization or executive director. They're supposed to be led by that committee of people, the board of directors. But if they're not doing any of that and bringing it together to talk about how we're going to change it, now that's from an internal standpoint. Then if you got
the premise is that you think the board of directors, right, or
they're supposed to be leaders.
But exactly, but they are emblematic of the same problem as one individual leader.
That's exactly right.
They're leaders too.
But how do you change that? There has to be a paradigm shift. And what is that? Right? Because people don't want to give up that power. No. That ego needs to be rubbed and massaged. That's what you got to overcome. We've got to bring in people in each one of our entities, whatever entity you work in. You've got to have the people to surround you to really be able to give what is necessary for that organization to thrive. Be it having a superintendent of schools, and the kids, most of them, are failing. Who's going to take charge of this person who's supposed to be leading the educational system? So you're supposed to be training the educational system to be able to change what needs to happen for our children.
The educational system is constructed not to change; it's to comply and keep the power structure. That's the purpose. That's the purpose. Yeah.
And the children who are being impacted look like us. Yeah. So now, how do you change that?
But let's be clear. Urban education systems. If you look at Corita Brown's book, "The Battle for the Black Mind," she talks about it. It's recently she just did a book signing at Enoch Pratt. It talks about even higher education for our HBCUs, and I'm an HBCU grad, love them to death. Our education system post enslavement was set up to keep a status quo, even if it was liberal or if it was industrial, right? Our K-12 educational systems are the exact same way. Our K-12 educational systems are not constructed to dismantle the system in which people profit off of.
Mm-hmm. And how do you make that change though?
That's exactly. I mean, what's it? I mean, what it is.
Right. Because you can't keep going like this.
Kevin, you've been kind of quiet. Come on in. Don't be that quiet.
Well, no, I'm just
listening.
I'm listening. I'm also learning too. I think I just go back to what I mentioned earlier, man. Listen, I took college courses in prison.
Yeah.
Right. And I did it for a reason. I did it because I didn't want to come back out here and do the things I was doing before, but also I knew that if I did do that, I'd probably be dead. Mm-hmm. So I took responsibility for myself. My mother put me in the Head Start program when I was 3 years old. When we were living in poverty in West Baltimore. Yeah, Doni, that teacher that I met in the third grade. Yeah, it's in the book. I just believe at some point, if we got to take responsibility, we know these things are not working for us. At some point, we got to take responsibility, and we got to just take the lead on it. I never forget passing books around in the penitentiary with 7 other inmates. One inmate will read Reginald F. Lewis book. Another inmate will read Maya Angelou, and we would pass those books back and forth, and everybody would get a chance to read it. And it was just a small group of us, right? So when all the other guys was raising hell and mayhem in the penitentiary, our goal was to read, get educated, because the plan was that we never wanted to come back.
Right.
And so at some point, we know these things that don't work for us. We know these things aren't designed for us. We know folks are profiting from us. And so at some point, we got to take responsibility for us and say, Kev, no more. I'm done.
But Kev, hold tight, Dave. I just want to get this in. Prologue, summer 1999, Jerome Avenue, Bronx, New York City. Close your eyes for a second, Marsha. It was nearly 9 o'clock on a warm summer evening in the Bronx, one of New York City's 5 boroughs. As I strolled down Jerome Avenue with my business partner, the screeching of an elevated subway train echoed as it raced along the metal tracks above. To my right, a Latina mother stood at a bus stop, holding her child's hand while discreetly clutching a sharp razor blade concealed in her purse. A cautious Catholic priest walked by carrying a Bible under his arm and rosary beads in his cassock robe. On the opposite side of the street, Russian mobsters loitered in front of a curbside car wash, engrossed in conversations on their Motorola flip phones. You know this is old. Their watchful eyes kept close tabs on both their expensive foreign cars being washed and polished and the illicit businesses in the vicinity. This gritty environment exuded tension and menace, but it was home to the people who lived there.
Yeah.
I have so many visuals, Kevin. Come on, David.
No, I appreciate that. So, for example, with that piece, Kevin, there was no reason if we got 15,000, 20,000, I'm ballparking K-12. I mean, not K-12, 9 high school students in Baltimore City, right? That book, not just in Baltimore City, but just talk about your hometown. There should be 20,000 copies, not 200, that Baltimore City Schools has paid for. That every single kid has access to your book.
So let me just say, when you got a black governor, what I had hoped for was a task force for Baltimore City and Prince George's County schools, the 2 schools jurisdictions that are in a race for the bottom. I had hoped that we would see some type of attention being put. And then I will tell you, about a week ago, a young lady teacher from Prince George's County, and I shared it on one of my Facebook pages, she spoke about the people on the Prince George's County School Board. I talked with my 5th grade teacher last night. Same thing. He's 77. This young lady's about 27. We are putting demand after demand after demand after demand on these teachers. We want them to fill out this report and that report and this other report. We want to underpay them. And the school teacher made this greatest point. Kev, she said, after all of these things, you pile on our desk and you demand of teachers, including low pay. On top of that, we disrespect them. We don't stand up for them between the parents. We don't stand up for them at the school board. And this young lady teacher said, because she was representing the millennials. She said, if you don't like your job, do what a millennial would do. Quit.
That's deep, man. That's deep. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, like, I am saying take responsibility and we got to step up and those things. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying turn a blind eye to what's going on out there. I'm saying still fight it, keep fighting it. But also in the same token, we do have to step up. And just like you just mentioned, Doni, and that's a great point about Prince George's County. The 2 biggest, I'm almost certain, 2 biggest school districts in the state, black school districts in the state, the impact that can be had with resources being put into those.
And then let's go to this. Maryland State Lottery, 1973. Money was promised for education.
Yep.
$15 billion at minimum has come through the Maryland Stadium Authority. We got a new football stadium, a new baseball stadium, and one of them has been renovated as of late. Yet we have schools. We have schools, citywide schools in Baltimore that don't have air and don't have heat. Right. What are we telling the children? We're telling the children
we don't care.
We failed you, we don't care, and we're not even going to have the manhood to apologize. And we wonder why. And then you know what we say? This is what we say. The kids are off the hook.
It's their fault.
And that's part of the hopelessness.
Yep.
It's part of why a young person don't look at, well, what am I going to be doing when I'm 25 years old? What am I going to be doing when I'm 35 years old? What am I doing? Many of them don't even believe they're going to be alive at that age. So why make a plan? Why make a plan for the future when you don't believe you'll have a future?
Right? And I'm not even talking about.
And this is real though. That little boy is still in my head almost 15 years later. That little boy said, I don't see myself living past 15. That boy is still in my head.
Marsha, I was that little boy. I felt the same way. And I had many of my friends around me that felt the exact same. We used to call it in my first book, I described it as the I am next syndrome. I am next. The guy standing next to you just got murdered. The guy standing to your right just went to prison. The guy standing behind you just got indicted by the feds. The guy standing behind you just got stabbed and went to prison. We used to, in my first book, I described it as the I am next syndrome. So you feel like I'm next. So you don't even feel like making a plan because you don't think you're going to be around long enough.
But so to your point, Kev, like you are a modern marvel, right? You're a social phenomenon, an outlier, because you shouldn't be here. Doni, you're the same way. Marsha, hell, I could say, same with me. I'm going to go back to the system, and the system is not, again, this one omnipotent person, but there's the systems, the macro system and the micro systems in it. It's the systems that breeds. The fact of the matter is, where when you're trying to do, when you have Black organizations that are really trying to sacrifice, they're either self-sabotage, they're either the system pushes back when you try to get the results. The system uses blacks against blacks. I mean, there's so many different things there that continuously and historically have impacted us. It's not. I don't think it's a different playbook. The playbook is just executed differently. It's the same playbook with the same outcomes. I mean, you think about it. They literally try to destroy Black businesses who are trying to make a difference. They don't give Black businesses the infrastructure for sustainability. You know what I mean? If you have a Black business that rises up that tries to do something for the community, either they try to take it out, right? And they're sleuth with it. They don't come at it directly. They use Black people to come at it. But I mean, this is really how it is. And then Black folks, we get so hyped up and sensationalized that we want to join in on it, and/or we become fearful of that they're going to come for us next, Kevin, and we just acquiesce, and we just want to make sure that I can still get mine. But just I just want Doni, all your listeners to hear this. If you're doing what's right and you're not just giving is easy. I'm talking about sacrificing.
Yeah.
When you sacrifice, the difference to me between sacrifice and giving, sacrifice hurts, and you're going to suffer when you sacrifice. And once you get past that fear of suffering, because they're going to come for you. They are going to come for you. Either they're going to try to break you or they're going to try to co-opt you. Either one.
All right, we got to get out of here, guys. David, how can people get in touch with you?
I've had the same phone number for 20 years since the flip phones. 202-330-1753. 202-330-1753. I do encourage everyone to get the book. Start with Kevin's. Kevin, your book is phenomenal, good brother. Just very powerful, insightful, and your heartfelt comes across the pages. And our book, fundamentally, one door at a time. How do you change education? One door at a time. There's no easy fix. You got to be willing to suffer, and you got to hit the streets and meet students and families where they are and listen to them. But you can get the book now, Barnes and Noble for us, Amazon. But yeah, let's get it right there. And I refuse to change that picture because I'm angry as hell. And I'm going to continue to be angry.
All right.
Kevin Sherry, you want to plug your book?
Yeah, A Life for Life, Poor Choices and Unresolved Trauma is Killing America. Available on Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, from my distributor, Simon & Schuster. All the local bookstores in Baltimore are carrying. I stopped through. I signed books for the local bookstores. This issue of mental health, man, it's such an important thing for me. As more and more I did research on prisons and drug use and violent crime, but it all traced back to the issue of mental health. Every track went back to the issue of mental health. I just want our people to get educated so we can better understand ourselves and better understand our community and create better policies that impact our community.
I gotta ask you, any thoughts on our elected officials and their mental health? I mean, it's kind of hard to advocate. It's kind of hard to hold tight. It's kind of hard to advocate for mental health if your ass crazy yourself.
So I totally agree with you, Doni. I think we all have to just take a look. We got to take a look, man. And I'm gonna just say something real quick about this issue on Pennsylvania Avenue. because it just reminds me a lot of you walk up on these scenes across the city, whether it's a shooting, a stabbing, or a mass overdose, and where if you're not impacted, something's wrong. Something's wrong, and more than likely, when people are saying they're not impacted, that means they more than likely they're hiding it. And if you're hiding it, then that means you're in a much worse situation because you don't even believe you need support, right? And so that's what, and then you end up with unresolved trauma. So just the people that walked up on that scene a couple of days ago, also get some help, get some therapy, get some support, because that was ugly. That was an ugly situation.
15 seconds for a quick story. My son, I have my 4-year-old son with me. We were at everyone's place, Kev, getting a book, right? Mm-hmm. And we walked there from our home on Utah Place. We walked through the neighborhood, though, not straight down North Ave and down Utah Place. We walked through the neighborhood, and my 4-year-old son, who had never experienced any of this, said, "Dad, what's wrong? What's wrong with these people? Are they okay?" Because we went the long way. We went up North Avenue, down Pennsylvania Ave, and across Lawrence. 4-year-old son said that of what he saw out there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you for joining us, Marsha. Any final thoughts?
I think it's important that we have these conversations on a regular basis, and maybe do something in the community that allows us to have those conversations. You know, we've got the Pratt down there. Maybe that's an opportunity. They've got a nice place that we can sit and have discussions, but we need to talk this through and how we can get our politicians involved, our communities involved, our churches need to be involved, and just start looking at what needs to really happen for our children to be safe, for them to learn, and for them to have peace emotionally and mentally.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. Have a great weekend. Good morning, world.
Thanks, Doni.